You see us outside. You see us outside, yeah, yeah.
All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Created Studios podcast. I'm your host with the most, Jordan Mode, and today we have our astounding guest here, Daniel Howell of Black Owl Media, Tennessee, an absolute juggernaut in the Nashville scene when it comes to music videos, photography, and he's also just an outright film buff. Daniel, thank you so much for coming here today and just hanging out with us, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. Like I said, man, you've been in the Nashville scene for quite some time.
Yep.
Why don't you give a little bit of a background of what you've kind of done so far while you've been here?
Yeah, so I kind of started back in 2014, mainly kind of just doing the standard portraits and everything. And then I've always been interested in music photography, like the old school, like 70s, the black and white film and everything. And so I was like, I want to do that. So I actually reached out on Craigslist when that was still a big thing.
Wow.
And I met a guy down there. I worked with him for a bit. And then I did the same thing with a guy named Javier Garza.
Okay.
Do you know
I don't know
Javi?
him, no.
He was with a band called The Nearly Deads.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So he was doing his own side project. I shot for him a little bit. And then he introduced me to The Nearly Deads. And we did a live show with that. I was like, dude, I love this. Like, just all the moving around, all the lights, all that good, cool stuff, and loved it. And then I started doing that more and more, started shooting for Nearly Deads more and more. And in between that, I was still doing, like, weddings and portraits and that kind of stuff. And then I kind of picked up more product photos, that kind of stuff. And that kind of made me start thinking about social media, right? So everybody needs social media, artists need social media, but their job is to focus on the music, right? So that's why I was like, you know what? There's a need for that right now, right? Because you can kind of look at a band's social media, not yours, you're good. And like, why would someone care about going to that show or seeing this band if I'm just seeing a flyer? I don't know who you are.
Exactly.
So I even learned digital marketing. I've got a certificate in digital marketing and stuff. So yeah, and then we're kind of here doing videos now.
Yeah.
A lot of reels, TikToks, that kind of thing, and also we've done a few music videos.
Heck yeah.
We did Detonator for you. I've done
Full transparency, Daniel just finished up doing my band's video just recently.
Yeah, it was cool. So that's kind of what's going on. But yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
We're kind of here and doing stuff for jiu-jitsu schools and
Heck yeah, and I
small
definitely want to
businesses.
dive into that because I know you've been doing a lot of that recently.
A lot, yeah.
One thing you just brought up a minute ago that I wanted to dive a little more into was that you were saying how important social media is today, especially when it comes to not only just being on it and being, active, but like having the right style of content. Because whether or not you're just trying to be an influencer or you're an artist or you're a small company trying to get off the ground, it is very important to have that quality. So when you said you went to school for digital marketing and stuff, so what are what have you seen recently with like the people you've worked with and stuff that you felt like, hey, this is things that people need to know more about?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things for me is like, don't just post to post for a reason. So even with music, and it's kind of hard to think about music as a business for younger artists and stuff. Just something they like, they want to grow. But one of the biggest things is posting with a purpose. So I think of the sales funnel. So awareness, I forgot the next step, but I know what it's supposed to be. And then the people who buy. So it's awareness, people who are kind of looking, and then people who buy, and then your loyal customers, right?
Okay.
So awareness, that's saying, hey, we're this band, or even post saying, just getting your guys' personality, right? Mm-hmm. That's awareness to the band. People fall in love with that band by their personality and their music, and they can kind of relate to the person instead of the music, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you get a better following that way. So everything's numbers, followers, and everything on social. That's what labels are looking at, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous right now because you can have some of the best music, everything, and you can't get a label deal because you don't have this many followers.
And it's unbelievable that that's what it's like in today's society.
Yeah.
It's not, and like you said, you could be producing the best music on the planet, but maybe your video is not that good, or maybe you only have 900 followers, and that's not a bad thing, by the way. 900 followers is pretty awesome, but like maybe your followers.
Heck, I don't even have that.
Yeah, I was like, maybe your follower count's not where it needs to be, but like it's just crazy. A lot of people don't. A lot of these young up and coming creators don't think about these things. Where it's like, okay, well, I have Instagram. I'm posting flyers for my shows. I'm doing it. I'm replying to every comment I get, but I'm still not seeing growth.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it is like you said. You have to be posting with that. There's a reason why I'm sending this out to the to the world.
Right.
I'm not just, hey, come see my band play next week at the 5 spot. Like, no one's gonna care. Like
Right.
you said earlier. Yeah.
Right. It is creating the awareness is the biggest thing, and then stuff like you and they always go like, here's my single, here's my single, here's this single, here's this show. It's like I don't know anything about you online.
Yeah.
Like that's how you get the people outside of your little circle in.
Yeah.
Create that awareness, but and you don't really need like the nice camera and this and that, the lighting and everything. It just show who you are.
Be authentic.
But definitely the higher quality does make it look like they're more professional. If they're like, not a more well-known band or just local band, it looks good.
Absolutely.
It gets those other people in there like, okay, these guys are serious. They're willing to put money into, to make themselves look good, right?
Absolutely.
Or professional.
The one thing that you mentioned to me a while back when we were working together and we were on the road was, my band was having a hard time figuring out how to kind of cross that threshold with getting people more involved. And the one
Right.
thing you mentioned to us is like, you guys are so goofy on stage and you're so fun. Like, you need to show more of that on your socials.
Yep.
And since we have done that, like, it's just crazy how much we've seen the return on investment.
Right.
And like little things like that. Like, so if you guys the one thing I've always said was every band in the world is serious. Like, especially when it comes to social media, everyone looks like the macho, I'm angry and you should take me serious and I'm the baddest band on the planet. Guess what? There's like 100,000 of those bands out there trying to
you
make
see
it.
the same thing. It's just them against the wall and they're just standing in line with arms crossed or like whatever.
It's about but what's gonna set what is you when the camera's off, and I think that is you were nail on the head with that. Like, what is the authenticness there? Like, who are you offside? And maybe that's something that a lot of people don't know because like their whole identity is their music or their films or whatever. So you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I like to with people who I'm working with if they're trying to do social media content is like, be yourself. That's really it. And people, the right kind of clients or the right kind of listeners are going to come over to you.
Yep.
You're going to draw them in. And then that's your awareness. And then they start, the listens and everything, the streams and everything. And that band gets bigger, but they're still having fun. They're being themselves. You don't have to worry about, trying to act like somebody else,
Absolutely.
And I think that's what can kind of ruin it. They're like, that's not me, but it's what's popular, it's what's trending. Absolutely. It doesn't matter. I just had something in my head and just.
Oh, you're fine, man. Because I was actually going to ask you, to segue, I was going to ask you about, because you do live concert photography. I mean, if you've never seen his work before, please go out and follow him on social media. He's probably some of the best photos I've ever seen someone do in live concert. I'm not just saying that because you're the guest on here. Because, I mean, I've seen a lot of guys who come in, they shoot your photos, and I'm like, okay, like, this is completely blurry, thank you. But you take so much time and effort on these photos, and it shows. And that's why I think you and I really hit it off when we first met. But I would love for you to talk a little more about your live concert photography experience, because you shot some quite amazing like roster of bands. It's like you were telling me you've done Daughtry, you've done, who else have you done?
Breaking Benjamin, shot Keith Wallen, and then we're shooting, I'm shooting Seether and POD in October with Daughtry again.
Yeah.
I got friends with Daughtry's guitarist.
Nice.
So he produced the Nearly Dead's last album. So
very cool.
I taught myself. Like when I was first starting out, I shouldn't say that. I was on a type of medication that got me like really, it would make me really hyper focused.
Okay.
And that's all I did. Even before I got my first camera or first big boy camera, I was watching YouTube videos all the time.
Okay.
I've never went to school for it, whatever. I mean, you can definitely be self-taught, but like I focused on a lot of concert photography videos and stuff like that, but I also looked at a lot of photos and like, okay, this is kind of what I like, and get inspiration and everything. So that's kind of where we got it. I love the like heavy shadows and like the red lights and the smoke and everything else, and it's looking for those moments in there. Like I shoot a lot, but it's still looking for those moments. Like, okay, I know he's going to go over here, and most every band that I've shot, I've become friends with.
Yeah.
Like, and we try to build that relationship up, right? But I mean, what else did you?
Well, so I guess my question is, when you go to like let's take Breaking Benjamin for instance,
Okay.
Bridgestone Arena, it's sold out, and you have, like you said, sometimes you may only have 2 songs.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't even aware that was a thing, because I've done a little bit of photography in my day, but not a lot. So, why do they do the 2-shot rule or 2-song rule?
So it can be like some only do 1, 2, or 3, depending on like what their management says. So the reason why they do that, from what I've heard, is so the photos, when they put them in magazines and everything else, they're not all gross looking, sweaty, makeup running down, hair every place. So that's I've seen you
Makeup running like prom
right.
night.
So that's kind of what why they do it. You don't see it with like, sometimes you see it with lower bands. Again, it's really up to management what they want to portray in their marketing.
And when it comes to shooting those, what do you find to be the biggest challenge, or what's the most fun thing? I guess we'll do both sides. Like, what's the most fun thing that you like when it goes to like shooting a concert, like let's say Bridgestone Arena, and what's maybe the biggest challenge you have?
I think the biggest challenge is the amount of people. If you're not able to get into a photo pit, like with the Breaking Benjamin show, I was in one spot the whole time.
Okay.
I had a 70 to 200 mil lens, and I just shot that, and I was able to get enough angles. But yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. One of the like things I always have to worry about when I'm shooting, because I'm 6'4", is with those smaller venues and everything, not getting in the way. So I'm crouching down on my back and knees hurt afterwards, but whatever. But one of the most fun things is just being in that energy and actually capturing it. I don't know, it's like a new toy. Every time I snap a picture, I can go home and edit it, because it's just fun to do. I love the fast-paced shooting stuff. That's why I like the jiu-jitsu stuff, the music, live music and everything. I have a harder time with the slow down still images.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can still do it. It doesn't stimulate my brain very much, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you shoot jiu-jitsu. So how did you get into that world? 'Cause I remember when you first mentioned that to me, I was like, that's such a wild world to be like filming, videoing, whatever. Like, how did you get in? Do you do jiu-jitsu?
Yep.
Okay. So
yeah, I actually shoot over at the school I train at, and actually today we're going to another one that I'm kind of taking over there. So how I got into that, my wife actually started before I did. She was working over at a store. One of the clients that would come into that store was one of the instructors over at the store the school across the street.
Okay.
So she started doing it and had a lot of fun. I did a couple classes there, and then she had told their instructors, like, hey, he does video and everything if you want to do that. So I started with them. I did a couple over there. And then the guys who ran the Franklin store, was like, hey, we'll give you free classes and this much money, and do that. So they just needed their social media leveled up, basically. So we've been doing that. I've got with a few other that's been the best thing is that jiu-jitsu class with all the other people. So
That's awesome.
and that's kind of another point. I thought we could. I mean, yeah.
No, that's super cool. And I know you said you said and sometimes you travel for work. You know,
Yeah.
like I remember I was talking with you last week, and you were out in Florida.
Yeah.
Doing some work for, what was it, a PR firm? Is that right? Or
It was a banking company. It was crazy because they basically run the banks.
So when you have to travel for work,
Yeah.
you know, and you're going out there to do a gig, what have you found to be some of the, you know, your biggest challenges, and what's some of your favorite things about traveling for stuff like that?
Traveling. Well, the biggest challenge for me is I'll travel. It's not my favorite thing to do, but is I don't really have too many challenges because I always pack light. I pack what I need
Yeah.
because I'm more of a run and gun type shooter. Like going to Miami, I just had my backpack of my clothes and my camera bag. That's all I needed, and we managed to get a lot of photos.
It's awesome.
A lot of good photos. But yeah, traveling for it is always fun. It's always fun. It's just the traveling part I don't like.
See, and I remember when you and I went on the road together, I had out of that entire, I know you were only on half the tour run, but that was some of the most fun
Yeah.
I ever had, was because you were
Yeah.
filming all the odds and ends stuff, and I'm sure that probably is so much fun for you.
Oh yeah.
Probably, I know it could be fun doing the live performances and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but it's probably so much fun to capture things off camera where people are just being themselves.
Yeah, that's always fun to me too. It's, you know, showing that bands or businesses real personality. It's like that's what matters to me. It makes me feel good.
Heck yeah.
I also like kind of going back to the point where we were at is like, you know what? That thought went out of my head too. So
Hey, it's okay, man. I know I'm throwing a lot of
Yeah, I
questions
know.
at you, but yeah. So like, you know, when you're, because I know, like I said, we wanted to talk a bit about the photography, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But you also do music videos, and you talked
Yep.
a little bit about it at the beginning. You know, obviously you've shot in a lot of people in the Nashville scene. You've done stuff with bands like Sleeper Signal. You've done stuff with my band. What do you find more fun about shooting music videos than, let's say, photography, or is it maybe, you know, vice versa?
So I've only started doing video for the past like 3 years, I think.
Okay.
A lot of the fundamentals are the same to me, lighting and composition. I mean, that's really all it is, and camera movement. That's the only thing that we're adding. Sorry, what was the question?
Just like, what is some of your biggest, like, what do you find so much fun about shooting music videos? Like, what is, like,
Yeah, music
the
videos.
drive?
Is again the fast pace, and you're actually creating something like a story. That's how I like to look at it. There's got to be a story to it.
Yep.
It could be kind of weird or whatever, or more literal, kind of what we did, right?
Yeah.
Very excited for that to come out too. By the
I
way,
know, it's a couple weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's why I like it. I like the fast pacedness of it. It's like you can do whatever you want. Sleeper Signal, we did some off the wall. You know, Say No More was.
It's a fantastic video,
It's
too.
weird. Like
It's just super cool because, like, how you guys, I know you said you were part of the editing process of it. You know, that must have been such a fun one to work on because,
Yeah.
like, the lights, the edit, like I remember when I first saw that teaser drop, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, this is star-studded, man. This is top quality. And, like, when you went to go like edit that video, how much did you have to do on the back end, or was it really well shot in the beginning?
it was very well shot.
Okay.
I mean, I had to do a minimal amount, very very minimal amount. The guy that shot it was his name is Austin Boylan. And I think he works for like NBC now, covering like sports and stuff.
Okay.
And, you know, with the big old cameras and everything. But yeah, it was a crazy shoot, man. It was, yeah, we set off the fire alarm at the very end with the smoke machine. Like we were doing so well the whole time. And I hit the button one too many times, and fire department came and everything else.
Did it shut down the production?
Yeah,
like
for a
everything
minute.
was done?
Well, luckily we were on the last shot,
Oh, good.
so we
yeah.
did everything perfectly, set off the smoke thing perfectly, and then the very last shot of the day, we got the fire department called.
Did any of the equipment get messed up or anything like that? Okay.
No. I mean, we didn't have any of the, rain or anything. It just picked up smoke. And there was a sign there that said,
Please don't put smoke on it.
do not use haze or smoke. There will be a $250 fine.
Did you guys get fined?
No. Luckily, Leo, their bassist, works there.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, okay, let me clear this up real quick. But I'm
Keep it a
sure
little
they
hush-hush.
got fined. Yeah. I'm sure they got fined for
That's
it.
so funny.
It was. There was like this bay door. I was like, I'm gone.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Dropped my camera and everything. I'm just walking by, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to pick on him next time I see him about that. That's so funny.
That's good stuff. But
man, this has been so much fun. I know you and I have had talks, but like I love this. I feel like I'm learning so much about who you are during this, and obviously when it comes to creative studios, the whole idea of this is, it's a creative playground. And the one thing that we want to do with this podcast is we want to offer, show like an insight of a story of someone who's doing it professionally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we want to offer, people who are trying to get into the industry, like not only hope, but like, what are the things that I need to know getting into the industry? Let's say like, hi, I want to get into photography. I want to become a music video editor. And what are things that you think young people should know, coming into the game that will instantly set them apart from the pack and can get them where they want to be quicker?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing besides, definitely learning those skills, what the settings are on the camera, about your exposure triangle, all that stuff. Definitely learn that first. Play around with it. Don't be afraid to go manual, that kind of thing. You're going to get the most control out of your camera if you're going to do that.
And you say manual, you mean like just like playing around with like buttons or
there's just like three main settings that you have to worry about to get your picture exposed correctly.
Okay.
That's really it. And composition, the different types of composition, that kind of thing. But besides all the like book stuff is learning to use what you have.
Okay.
Don't worry about going out and buying brand new equipment, brand new gear, that kind of stuff on stuff that you don't know if you need yet. Mm-hmm. I would also tell them, don't buy equipment unless you find a need for it consistently. Otherwise, either rent or borrow, whatever you need to do. But I started out with a Canon XSI, which was made in like 2007, and I got it in 2014.
Fair enough.
And that's where I got started. The camera I use now is like 5 years old.
But you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Because I agree with that. Because the one thing I've noticed, especially myself, is my rule, like with my stuff, is if I'm gonna buy something, am I gonna make my money back in the next 6 months with it?
Right.
And I think that's a great aspect. And we have Leslie Brathwaite, who's a Full Sail graduate here. He's gonna be doing a residency for like the next few weeks, and he's a mixing engineer. He's done everyone from like Cardi B to Beyonce, and he's amazing what he does.
Yeah.
But he sets himself up in Studio One behind us. And what's so crazy is he was here a couple weekends ago, everybody's first question is always, his setup is so basic.
Yeah.
And his whole point is, yes, that's the point, is you don't need $1 million studio to make a hit. You just have to know how to use the tools you have.
And
I love that aspect.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is like just learn what you have, and practice.
Absolutely.
Practice, because when I first got my camera, I brought it everywhere with me. I was bringing it to work, in the car, whatever. I was just shooting all the time. So, yeah, those two things is practice and learn with what you have, and it doesn't matter to a point. But if you're just starting out, it doesn't really matter what kind of gear you have, what kind of camera you have, what kind of lens you have. Learn to use that first. Learn those fundamentals first, and then move up, right? Because you'll see some people. I want to kind of throw some people under the bus at this point, but you'll see some people. They'll go out, they got some money, and they'll buy a $2,000, $3,000 camera with a $2,000 lens.
And not know how to use it.
And they say, I'm a photographer. And then they go do the first photo shoot. Well, yeah, they'll do their first photo shoot and it looks like crap and they don't get any work. And they were like, why can't I get work? I've got this nice expensive gear.
It's like, but you're not doing it correct. You're not using it right. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, man. Because like I said, I've been in that situation.
Like with guitars and stuff.
Yeah. I've been in that situation before where like literally I have taking someone like we paid them top dollar to come out and do a show for us, and then we get blurry photos back, or like you get 1 or 2 photos, and you're like, dude, I dropped a lot of money on you. Like, you better have more than 5 good photos.
Yeah.
But as we start to wrap up, where can people find you? If people like, hey, you know what, I need a photographer, because I know you do music video work, you do photography work, but you're getting ready to start up like almost like an artist essential page, like we talked briefly about.
Yeah.
Daniel is, for any bands out there, Daniel is the man who is trying to make social media easy for any creative. Like, I cannot talk about him enough. Like, he will set up plans for you. He'll get you to where you need to be with your social media. So I want you to plug your social so we can get you work.
Yeah, I got you. So I'm mostly on Instagram, and that's really it. So it's Black Owl, TN, like Tennessee. And then I do have a Facebook. It's the same thing over there. But yeah, that's really all I have. blackowlmedia@tn.com. That's kind of still under construction right now, but yeah, that's where you can find me.
And can they just shoot you a message, or do they need to email you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Email's Daniel@blackowlmedia@tn.com. Call me. I'm not going to give out my phone number here, but if you want to, just reach out to me. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's awesome, man. Daniel, thank you so much for coming to hang out.
I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. And basically, we'd love to have you back at another time. We can dive more into deep to what how you got into the world and stuff like that. I'd love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, man.
And,
for sure.
Appreciate it. And we'll be back here at part 2 of the Created Studios podcast here shortly. But if you'd like to be a part of the Created Studios podcast, or you want to maybe be a part of the production, come on in and see us, or you can go to createdstudios.com to learn more. Daniel, again, thank you so much again.
All right, thanks,
man.
man.
And stay tuned for part 2.
Regardless, now we outside. You see us outside. You see us